Good morning. This is Janice Perkins with Capacity, and I'm joined with Julia McBride from the Kansas Leadership Center this morning, actually, from coming in from rural Kansas, actually. I'm so glad that she's with me this morning to talk about On the Bright Side. And I wanted to start off, Julia, by reading you something. I'm always looking for the latest in crazy news or funny news or something to start these off, so we can have a different conversation. But it was an article about all the weird food combinations because everyone's eating at home. So, because everyone's eating at home, they're discovering and they're Googling and asking friends for different snack foods. And so these are the top 10 weird, popular, and crazy food combinations people are eating at home right now. French fries and chocolate milkshakes comes in at number 1. Cottage cheese and fruit, which I don't find that odd, honestly.
Neither of those seem all that odd to me. Yeah.
Fruit preserves with cheese and crackers, also not too odd. I've had that around for a while. Chocolate and popcorn. I know chocolate goes with everything. Peanut butter and apple, also not too weird. Sauerkraut and cheese, never tried. Cheddar cheese and apple pie. French fries and pickles. Cold pizza with ranch dressing. And sour cream and onion chips with chocolate.
Yeah, some of those are more appealing to me than others, I think.
Yeah. So is there anything that's changed to your food routine?
Well, just that I ran out of yogurt and had to resort to peanut butter on toast this morning, but that's good.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No, that's just allowing me to indulge in something that I really enjoy.
The only thing different I told the kids yesterday is because we eat at home quite a bit anyway, even with activities, but there are less activities, right? So we are at home for dinner every night too, and breakfast. But eating at lunch also, like the dishwasher, I'm running it sometimes twice a day. Because I'm cooking more and we're snacking, and so I'm like constantly fighting the dishes. So that's just a different part of the routine.
Yep.
Very thankful to have a dishwasher that works. So
we don't. Out here in Mansfield Green, our water is so hard that the dishes would come out of the dishwasher harder, dirtier than they went in. So it's bonding time to stand at the sink and wash the dishes, and there's more of it now.
Oh yes, a lot more of it since we're cooking. Okay, so the 3 questions I've been asking everyone. We'll start with question 1, which is, what's one thing you would tell a business that they could do right now?
First of all, can I tell you 3 things? Because I came up with 3 things that I wanted to talk about. I think, first of all, communicate and connect more with your people than you think you need to. I mean, do Zoom calls, have a Slack channel, and ask questions about how people are doing, and just make every effort possible to check in with people and help people stay connected. I think that's one. The other one that's been really useful to me in terms of keeping on the bright side has been balance the urgent with the important. So we've been doing really important long-term thinking about what and how we teach, and that has just been so life-giving for the Kansas Leadership Center and for my colleagues there. And then I think the third one is look outside yourself for how you can contribute. I read a great article in the Wichita Eagle this morning about an aircraft company that's making masks, and a police officer who's gathering people with 3D printers to create, I think, some face shields was what he was working on. And at the Kansas Leadership Center, we're making some pivots. Instead of people coming to us, we're offering our coaches and even our alumni to help people in Kansas and beyond. Somebody reached out to us about facilitating some small groups in communities in India where they're really struggling with what's it going to look like on the other side of this. So look for ways that you can contribute, maybe even outside of your normal business model or mission.
No, I love that. I just read an article this morning too about ethanol plants producing hand sanitizer.
Oh,
So
awesome.
whether
Yeah.
or not it's within your standard mode of operation and you can just slightly go to the right or left, or like you said, it's something completely opposite to what you had, but the commodity a lot of us have right now is time.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
so let's use it in a different way than we did before. When the hectic has been drained out, we do have more of something incredibly valuable that we can add somewhere. So I find that really insightful. Okay, the second question is, what is something I could do for me as a person? What's one thing you could recommend?
You know, I think the easiest thing is develop a meditation practice.
Mm,
And I think that, I mean, I feel lucky that coming into this, I had a practice to build on, but that's becoming more and more important. And, you know, so it's just sit down. I think it's best in the morning before you pick up a device, maybe after a drink of water, but before coffee or tea, and sit for 5 minutes and, you know, focus on a word or your breath or the vision, like I do, the vision of a beautiful mind glowing about 3 feet ahead of you. And, you know, it might be 5 minutes at first and then 10 minutes after a week, and then just building up to 20 or 30 minutes. And for me, that's the foundation of a day that can be really bright, even in dark times.
Yeah, I really love that. You know, it took me a lot of years. I'm a very inside and outside busy person. And so it took me a long time to get to a place that I could sit still. In fact, this year I tried yoga for the first time. And, you know, my friend, they were like taking bets in the room to see if I would be crawling the walls to make it through an entire yoga session. And I really like it, I think, because I had trained myself to learn how to be still, even when I was doing busy things. So I think that's part of a balance too, that even when I would go running or something like that, that I was allowing my inner self to be calm and still versus the hamster wheel. And I think that's that muscle that you have to develop in meditation and in finding a calm season, whether it's in prayer or meditation, that our inner selves get quiet. I think that's the most important, no matter what we're working on. It helps throughout all activities now that my inner self has different speeds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, the third question is, what's something you would recommend for relationships?
Oh, you know, I had a great time doing some math problems with my 12-year-old yesterday.
Mm,
And I think what I discovered a lot, so because I was kind of failing, it was 5 o'clock and I had failed to be a good homeschooler, right? And I realized, you know, I said, okay, let's just do this. Let's do a couple of pages of this packet. And I realized they could do it. It was just, they wanted company.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was just like what I can do in relationship. And I think what I will do going forward is sit there while our child does a couple of pages of math homework. And they don't need me there for the other subjects, but for that one in particular, which we both find kind of boring, and maybe even pointless. Find it very difficult to find the point.
Oh, I love it.
But I can sit there and I can do it, and I can, you know, just witness that they're doing it. Be a witness, I think. Yeah.
I had a very interesting and similar discussion with one of my kids last week too about certain subject matter that we study in school and what its usefulness is long term. You know, I love what you said, because I think the interesting thing as parents in a time period where we're homeschooling and or working at the same time, and the juggling that's happening, is to just take another look at what language your child is speaking. in that relationship, because they do shift in different time periods and ages. And some are very consistent at a base root of how they interact. I mean, I have one that's a very with me child. So everything in the interaction with her, I say child, she's not, she's a teenager, but it's a with me. And so sitting beside, interacting, you know, a lot more conversational in the interaction, and just paying attention to in the space what meets the need, especially because they're not meeting their needs in all their other relationships either, right? So we're really solely the ones meeting those needs. And so I think that's very interesting. And tell me then, the last question is, what is your on the bright side right now? What's your silver lining?
Oh gosh, you know, there's a ton of silver lining living in Matfield Green, Kansas. I mean, this is a community. We're on the outskirts of a community of 62 people in a county of 2,700, 3.5 people per square mile. So far, no coronavirus, easy to distance. We're kind of used to having conversations from 6 feet apart because there's just plenty of distance. Mm-hmm. And I think the bright side is just being able to witness spring in, you know, in many more moments than I'd be able to if I were in Wichita every day, or even just at work in my regular office. I mean, I go out for a stretch and there's a tiny little purple flower.
No, I love that. And we were talking the other day, you were talking about planting a garden. And I think that seeing this community be more of an outside community, even in the city, is really astonishing to me. I love it. I've lived in cities and in states where there was more outdoor activity and more running paths and more bikers. And so I'm used to seeing it, but not here. And so watching Wichita get outside and be on the sidewalks are full of bikers and walkers. And I think that's such a great, beautiful thing. And it is a beautiful spring right now. And we're all getting to enjoy it and be grateful for it not being a different season where we'd be really trapped inside.
Oh yeah, I mean, major bright side is that this is not October or November, and we're looking at
major. I said it so much. I've said it so many times. This conversation would be going much different. We'd be trying to convince each other that we can do this a lot more without sunshine. No, I think these are the steadfast things that I hope stick to our lifestyle through this. As a community that I hope we don't forget, for sure. I'm so glad that I got to hear your insight this morning. Thank you for sharing it. All the people.
Oh my gosh, it's been so fun. So just like a wonderful way to start the day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on The Bright Side with Julia McBride.
Thank you, Janice.